Chen Tong recently joined a strange chat group. I often talk about historical events and have a very neutral name. The Qin Zhen Long, although he must be executed from afar, has a series of internet names such as Li Air, Friend of Wives, Infrastructure Demon, Anti-God Pioneer, Heart of Illusion, and so on. Eternal Li Air. Chen Tong, Tang Taizong should be considered as the emperor of eternal history, right? Chen Tong. Are you afraid you misunderstood the two characters of eternity? Compared to a powerful ruler like King Zhou of Yin, he is far behind, at most considered a prosperous and wise ruler. What? King Zhou can also be considered a sage ruler. Do you understand King Zhou? Do you understand Emperor Yang of Sui? If you don't understand, please don't be black. Who was the first to protest against divine authority? Who truly achieved the rule of law? Who truly enables the north-south connection and breaks the social stratification? Do you know what true history is? Who is the top leader in the emperor's profession? In the beginning of summer, the strong Shang Dynasty, the prosperous Zhou Dynasty, the dominant Qin Dynasty, the strong Han Dynasty, the weak Jin Dynasty, the strong Sui Dynasty, the prosperous Tang Dynasty, the wealthy Song Dynasty, the fierce Yuan Dynasty, and the strong Ming Dynasty. Let's have a better understanding. Overthrow the eternal emperor in your heart. The Qin Zhen Long said, those who know few people, Chen Tong, stop pretending, have a showdown. Let's smash Chen Tong's Tai A Jian with walnuts to eat keywords of the novel. Disrupting this is the Emperor chat group without pop-ups. Disrupting this is the Emperor chat group. Download the complete set of TXT. Disrupting this is the latest chapter reading in the Emperor chat group. Chapter 1. Subverting the Three Concepts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Subverting the Three Concepts. Parallel World. A dilapidated rental house. Son, what kind of history major do you say you're studying? Look, you're almost graduating and can't even find a job. What do you think you can do with this? Tomb raiding. Mom. Tomb robbing is a professional matter in archaeology. Bah, it's not tomb robbing, it's archaeological research. Chen Tong felt a little headache. Mom, I've seen so much about ghosts blowing lanterns. Look, even tomb raiders don't want you. When they said they wanted you to study medicine, your dad insisted on you studying history. It's all up to your dad. Your dad said he knows a professor of archaeology who stole tombs and has a beautiful and unattractive granddaughter on a blind date tomorrow. Give me a grandson now. Chen Tong's head grew big for a while. He hasn't graduated yet, so he's going to have a grandson. Who his mother is, Chen Tong doesn't even know. Do you think our family has a mine? Wife is not a girlfriend. Does that mean you can have one? Find the beauty you want from your girlfriend. Looking for a wife, what you need is a house, a car, and tickets. Those senior sisters were all greedy for his beauty, but no one was willing to work hard with him. Anyway, let's continue with the water group. Although reality has dealt me a heavy blow, I can still pretend to be forced online. Chen Tong shook his neck. As a professional Dragon King, he had already dominated chat groups, with knowledge of astronomy and geography, and the other party's life could not be taken care of on his own. Well, I was kicked out of the group directly by the permission dog again. I hate these permission dogs the most. I can't stand it, so I started to crack down on them. As for work, let's talk about it later. Is it necessary to look for a job in the history major? Unless pie falls from the sky, there is no point at all. Ding. Suddenly, Chen Tong received an invitation message. Push message inviting you to join the Supreme Chat Group. War is about to break out again. As a routine, first observe the victim and click on the group information. This group is too high-end and needs to be kept confidential. Group tag. Industry Communication Group. Chen Tong's eyes lit up. It seemed that he was going to add strange knowledge again this time. The industry exchange group was very professional. However, when he saw the group members' internet names, Chen Tong's mouth twitched a bit. Master, the Great Qin True Dragon. Management. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Group members. Although far away, one must be executed. Eternally heir a friend of a wife infrastructure maniac anti-god vanguard. I will execute your 10 tribes. What's all this? The names are getting bigger and bigger, like the Great Qin True Dragon. Do you think you're Qin Shi Huang? Looking at these other names again, Li Heir, he also executed the 10 clans. What industry exchange group is this, Emperor? Chen Tong felt that it was necessary to save these people who were trapped in fantasy, so he immediately clicked to join. However, just as he clicked, a problem arose. Can Li Shimin become the eternal emperor? Is Qin Shi Huang a tyrant? Do you agree that King Zhou was one of the 3 great tyrants of ancient times? What should be the evaluation of whether Cao Cao is loyal or treacherous? How do you view Yang Guang's achievements and faults? How do you evaluate Zhu Yuanzhang? How did Confucianism come into being? Who developed a family? When Mr. Chen saw these questions, he felt a bit confused. It feels like a certain station. When entering, he also needs to write a question and answer. Take an exam. Start with an inbound learning session. Do not give consent if not approved. You know how to play. However, none of this can defeat Chen Tong. After all, he is a professional expert. At this moment in the chat group, all members were extremely excited, and new members came in. Eternal Li Heir. I don't know which dynasty's emperor he was from. With such poor luck, he still needs to do some research. At first glance, it looks like a foolish ruler. Otherwise, how could such a high difficulty be given? At this moment, the group leader spoke up. Qin True Dragon, just now, I saw the system's push and the system prompted, he's not the emperor. What? At this moment, everyone in the group was stunned. Isn't it possible for the emperor to come in too? They are the emperor chat group here. Although far away, one must be executed. Isn't it possible for the emperor to push it in? What kind of talent does this person have? The Qin Zhen Long. The introduction provided by the system is: Name, Chen Tong. Professional water group, professional bar master, keyboard superhero. People who use bars cannot take care of themselves and have been reported 3,945 times by group members. They are still active in chat groups to this day. The chat group is incredibly stunning. Punish your 10 tribes. This mouth is absolutely poisonous. I have never seen someone with such a high level of hatred before. How did he survive on Earth? Fighting to transform horses is terrifying. JPG, Heart of the Phantom Sea. I don't care if he's poisonous or not, the most important thing is to be handsome. I'm really looking forward to it. They just like him, a unique man. I feel my heart beating so fast. Eternal Li Heir. Well, who can tell me that the Heart of the Phantom Sea is actually the emperor of my Tang dynasty? I want to hammer her to death. Such a disregard for women's morality. Punish your 10 tribes. Li Heir, her relationship with you is quite complicated. You can create a 1,000,000-word episodic novel to clarify the characters' relationships. She can be considered your next emperor, not surnamed Li. I have to say, even the Li Tang royal family dare not write novels like this. Love, this is a grinding little fairy. Eternal Li Heir, female. My daughter. Law. I won't carry this pot, what does it have to do with me? Friend of wife. What are you saying? Why don't I understand? It's so exciting that it can still surpass me. Chow Chow, do you dare to believe that Hua Tua, that old man, actually wants to open a gourd for me and say that this is the only way to treat my illness? Do you really think I'm stupid? I casually threw myself into the prison, and will be beheaded after autumn. By the way, you are all emperors, isn't that right? I also call myself emperor. How could I go back on my word? I really don't want to be an emperor. Cao Cao is famous for his words, but how could he not comply with my wishes? I have no choice. JPG, Eternal Heir. Chaotic officials and thieves, Cao Amon. You have a beautiful idea. That's a posthumous title, and you died completely. Cao Cao laughed at the time and dared to scold me. I, Cao Cao, am famous for being friends with people. Friend of wife. Li Heir, how is your queen's beauty? I think it's not bad. Cao Cao likes to make friends with people like you the most, are you friends? Cross-eyed smile. JPG, Eternal Heir. I'll kick your lungs. JPG, by the way, I am an emperor for eternity, do we still need to consider it? I reckon he's not capable at all. Unfortunately, I can't see his answer to the question. De Qin Zhen Long. Take a look, if it doesn't work, even if the system pushes it in, I'll kick it out. If the system issues a blue prompt, it is a negative review. Green means passing through. Gold is excellent. Eternal Heir. If he can't come up with a golden and excellent answer to such a simple question, then he must be incredibly blind. There is no doubt that Li Shimin has been an emperor for thousands of years. Then, at the next moment, the system has issued an audible alarm. In the chat group, everything is red. The emperors were all stunned. Eternal Heir. What exactly does this mean? Emperor Qin Shi Huang also looked bewildered. What exactly is this situation? I haven't seen it before. The Great Qin True Dragon. This red prompt represents I'll take a look. He subverted the three views. Subversion of the three views, different from the past. How could it be? How can these familiar histories overturn the three views? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. What do you think of the Jingnan campaign? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. What do you think of the Jingnan campaign? Chen Tong was working on the questions quickly. These questions were simply too simple for him. His thinking is different from that of ordinary people. Looking at history, that's from a different perspective. He likes to take unconventional paths, otherwise how can he make people want to live or die? Within the chat group. Although far away, one must be executed. Subverting the three concepts. Isn't that nonsense? Kicked. At this moment, Emperor Qin Shi Huang had a strange expression on his face. De Qin Zhen Long. I really can't kick it because the chat group has already automatically passed. The prompt message said. What he said is really brilliant. Although he subverted the three views, it can still be logically consistent. Punish your 10 tribes. Is this okay too? Isn't it fake? All the questions have overturned the values, isn't it nonsense? This is a master. JPG, although far away, one must be executed. Is it just like my Dongfang Shua, who is so intelligent and close to demons? Surprisingly, he said he had read all the books in the world, and even said that he was 8 feet tall and the most beautiful man in the Han Dynasty. But as soon as he saw it, I just chuckled. Friend of wife. Not entirely, perhaps just like Jia Su, the unparalleled poisonous warrior, who specializes in causing harm to the country and the people. We need to test him to see if he has real talent and learning. We can't trust him easily. Back then, I believed in Lu De's evil and thought he was a good person, which is why I let the tiger go back to the mountains. De Qin Zhen Long. Alright, I'm about to let him in. Let me explain the precautions first. All staff are prohibited from speaking. We are the Emperor's chat group, which is the secret of heaven and earth. Only the Emperor who gathers supreme luck can awaken this chat group. Just half a month ago, Emperor Qin Shi Huang made his 5th border patrol and arrived in Penglai. Suddenly, with a ding sound in my mind, I woke up to the chat group and became the group leader. I could invite emperors from all time and space to join the chat group. And Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, also received this systematic news shortly after ascending the throne. Zhu Di just defeated Emperor Jiangwen Zhu Yunwen, ascended the throne, and also joined the group chat. Over the past 2 weeks, Emperor Wu of Han, Emperor Taizong of Tang, Cao Cao, and Empress Wu all joined the Emperor chat group one after another. And the more mysterious, silent, infrastructure maniac, anti-god vanguard. It is not clear who they are, only knowing that they are emperors of a certain era who have been diving. The Qin Zhen Long. This time it's not the emperor being pushed, we need to treat it with caution. So, without knowing the details of the new members, we must never let them know that we are the emperor, and we must not ruin our luck in the Yan and Huang dynasties. You cannot reveal your identity casually, as it may lead to misfortune. After Emperor Qin Shi Huang lifted his ban. Everyone agrees, they are all emperors and can know which is more important. This chat group is a complex world, and God knows what profound impact it will have on them and the era they live in. It cannot be casually revealed to others. Eternal Li Heir. Since you have decided to conceal your identity, don't claim to be me. After all, we are like fireflies in the pitch black, shining wherever we go. It's too easy to expose our identity, punish your 10 tribes. Too narcissistic, Li Heir. The only thing that shines is the hat on your head. Love is a light, understand. The Qin Zhen Long. Alright, widow, no, I'm going to pull him in. Ding. Chen Tong joined the group chat. The Qin Zhen Long. Welcome newcomers. Punish you from the 10 clans. Newcomers, let's take a walk in women's clothing first, there will be red envelopes. Heart of the sea. I just want to see if I am the kind-hearted person in my heart. Friend of wife. Marriage or not. Wife, beauty or not. Friend or not. These emperors are all intelligent people. After awakening to the chat group, they quickly mastered the language and image expressions in the group, driving, fighting, and playing one by one. They are all isolated in their respective worlds, towering above the cold, without true friends. Here, we are all peers, completely liberating our nature. It's really amazing. Chen Tong smiled, unusually casual, and was ready to hang these scumbags to make them feel the terror of being dominated by the spirit of the bar. Chen Tong. My name is Chen Tong, 21 years old. I have been dominating social media groups, Weibo, forums, and so on all year round. Do we need to take explosive photos? Fill in family information and identity information. Are you single? Does the Navy still give away their girlfriend? The people in the group were momentarily stunned. Why didn't this newcomer play according to the routine? Undoubtedly a professional water group, they even play the opposite trick. Emperor Qin Shi Huang was extremely depressed. He had originally intended to send a message, but it couldn't be sent out. If you guessed what I wanted to do, wouldn't I be very embarrassed? The Qin Zhen Long. Are you joking? You're not qualified to join the group yet. Let me give you a test first. If you can't pass everyone's approval, resolutely kick out of the group. Li Shimin nodded. Can you also guess the emperor's thoughts? Isn't that a great failure for us? Eternal number 2. Yes, that's right. Our group is too high-end, and most people can't get in. Do you still want to take explosive photos? Do you think nowadays, everyone is a beauty enthusiast? Heart of the Phantom Sea. What's wrong with the beauty party? It's a woman's nature to love beauty, do you understand? Little brother, they are optimistic about you, come on. Li Shimin's face turned black at that time. Is this a member of my royal family in the Tang Dynasty? You are so disobedient in front of me, how unreasonable. If it weren't for being separated by the screen, he would really want to immerse this heart of the sea in a pig cage. The Qin Zhen Long. Isn't it the agreed test? Who will come first? Eternal Li Heir. I'll come first. Li Shimin was eager to give it a try at this moment, because he and Zhu Di had been arguing in the group for a long time, and what he particularly admired was the lenient criminal law. But Zhu Di, on the other hand, advocates harsh punishment and laws. Li Shimin felt that Zhu Di was too violent, and Zhu Di felt that Li Shimin was too soft. The two had a deep discussion. Well, that should be called a confrontation. Eternal Li heir. As the saying goes, since the founder of the legalist school, Han Fizi, laid the foundation for the legalist school. Before Li Shimin could finish speaking, he was scolded by someone. Chen Tong felt a pang of discomfort when he saw the words on it, and his mouth was wrong. Chen Tong must kindly correct him. Chen Tong, who told you that Zhu is Han Fizi? Do you still understand any common historical knowledge? At your level, do you still want to test me? Where did you get that confidence? Chen Tong's words immediately confused Li Shimin. Isn't Han Fizi the founder of the legalist school? Zhu Di patted his thighs and laughed heartily. I knew that Li Shimin's professional level was not good, and his education was not as good as mine. Punish your 10 tribes. Li heir, at your level, what else are you discussing with me about legalism and Confucianism? You wash and sleep. Fa Zhu, that must be Xuanzi. Without Xuanzi's ideological origin, who did Han Fizi learn legalism from? Although far away, one must be executed. What he said is quite reasonable. If Han Fizi is the culmination of the legalist school, then he must have been influenced by Xuanzi before. If we were to talk about the ancestor of the legalist school, wouldn't that be Xuanzi from another family? Are you right? At this moment, Emperor Wu of Han was very proud. Li Shimin was jumping too much in the crowd, and it was time for him to showcase his true skills. But the next moment, he was bewildered. Chen Tong. Right, what's right? One by one, they all pretend to understand without understanding. Fa Zhu, is this question so difficult? Fa Zhu, what safe is Shangyang? Zhu Di, who was laughing wildly, was choked to death at the time. Empress Su on the side quickly helped him beat his back, while Zhu Gaoxiu scratched his head and bumped his brother Zhu Gaoqi with his arm. Brother, are you saying that our father and emperor have become emperors, and are you crazy with joy? These days, he's not normal anymore. Zhu Gaoqi's face turned black, and he walked a few steps away without leaving a trace. Why hadn't he noticed before that this younger brother was so cute? Immediately, a big foot flew over and kicked Zhu Gaoxiu upside down. Zhu Di really wanted to hammer this son to death. But in the group of emperors, it exploded instantly. Fa Zhu, how could it be Shangyang? Where did you put Han Fizi and Xuanzi? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Iron Blood Yen King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Iron Blood Yen King. In the Emperor chat group, emperors from different parallel time and space furrowed their brows. Especially Emperor Wu of Han and Li Shimin, as high-ranking emperors, feel extremely uncomfortable being scolded by others. Who are you looking down on? Although far away, one must be executed. Fa Zhu, it must be Xuanzi. Is this well known? Is there still a way to argue this? Spread your hand. JPG, eternally heir. No, 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 Han Fizi is the culmination of the legalist school. The view that Fa Zhu is Han Fizi is recognized by everyone. Emperor Qin Shi Huang stroked Tia Jian and a smile curved his lips. He wanted to see how Chen Tong argued with the emperors. Chen Tong chuckled and realized that people actually have no concept of legalism. Chen Tong. Han Fizi and Li Si both studied under Xuanzi, and their thoughts were influenced by Xuanzi. So, as the ancestor of the legalist school, you must first exclude Han Fizi. He is only the culmination of the legalist school, not the founder of the legalist school. How can he call his ancestors saints? Zhu Di laughed proudly. Leaving aside everything else, it was definitely right to criticize Li Shimin. He and Li Shimin, as the second generation of the emperor with the same identity, have been in a constant struggle, and their ideas are completely opposite. They always clash when they meet. Zhu Di is still very happy to step on Li Shimin today. Punish your 10 tribes. Yes, Han Fizi learned from Xuanzi. How can you compare yourself to your teacher? Someone, their knowledge is still too short. Although far away, one must be executed. Yes, Han Fizi must be eliminated first. That Fazu is definitely Xuanzi. Don't forget, Xuanzi was the first to propose that human nature is inherently evil at the beginning. Legalism, on the other hand, is based on the fundamental evil of nature. Emperor Wu of Han emphasized the Confucian skin and Dharma mind, and had a much clearer understanding of legalism than Li Shimin. After all, it was from his hands that Confucianism began to flourish. At that time, Li Shimin was very dissatisfied, but there was no way to refute it. Legalism is based on the evil nature. Although far away, one must be executed. So, the ancestor of legalism must be Xuanzi. That's right. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Very impressive, I have gained a lot of knowledge. I'll just focus on eating melons. Chow Chow patted his mouth and felt that what Emperor Wu of Han said was reasonable, but he, who was clever, did not refute it. After all, he knew the best way to be extremely happy and sad. He slapped his face too quickly, like a tornado. Sure enough, the next moment, a miracle happened. Chen Tong. Sorry, Xuanzi's theory of inherently evil nature was also influenced by Xiangyang. Chen Tong's words immediately stunned Emperor Wu of Han and others. Although far away, one must be executed. How could this be possible? I haven't heard of it before. Chen Tong. Firstly, they are not from the same era. Xiangyang's birth and death year, approximately 395 BC.338 BC, Xuanzi's birth and death year, approximately 280 BC.233 BC, that is to say, more than 50 years after Xiangyang's death, Xuanzi was born. It is clear who was influenced by whom. Punish your 10 tribes. That only indicates that Xiangyang was born earlier than Xuanzi. What does that mean? Is it true that the theory of inherently evil nature was proposed by Xiangyang when one was born early? Why don't you say it was proposed by Confucius? Confucius was even earlier. Chen Tong raised his eyebrows. Is this going to argue with me? Chen Tong. Firstly, Xuanzi belongs to Confucianism, not legalism. Secondly, the theory of nature is inherently evil has long been in conflict with Confucianism during the 100 schools of thought. Back then, at the Jixia Academy in the state of Qi, Xiangyang represented legalism and discussed the Tao with the Confucian sage Mencius, presenting legalism for the first time on the historical stage. His brilliant debates have made his famous words stand out in the world. Xiangyang once said, "Human nature is inherently evil, and only with evil can there be laws. The world is born with a desire for profit, only then can there be a struggle for wealth, goods, and land. Born with greed, there is thief violence and slaughter. Born with extravagant expectations, only then can one have the charm of dogs and horses. The evil of human nature must be corrected by law, and the rule of law should prevent evil desires, the rule of law should guide human nature, only then can human nature move towards goodness and order." The teachings of Confucius and Mencius state that human nature is inherently good, and that the merit of governing the world should be attributed to the goodness of human nature. The responsibility for chaotic times should be attributed to the 3 schools of law and military power. It's nothing more than reaffirming the principles of benevolent governance, the rule of man, and retro culture. Going back to the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties, this is a true statement of great hypocrisy that condones evil deeds, blinds immaturity. As soon as these words were spoken, Mencius and Confucianism were speechless, and only then did legalism become famous. So it can be said that Shang Yang was the first person to propose the theory of inherently evil nature, and he is the founder of the legalist school. Shang Yang's words suddenly struck the heads of the emperors like thunder from the sky. One by one, their mouths grow up. This is truly a grand argument that only took 500 years to come true. Just listening makes my blood boil. At this moment, Zhu Di felt that his worldview had been overturned. Punish your 10 tribes. How could Mencius have been scolded by others? Our ancestors were fierce. At this moment, Cao Cao feels quite comfortable. Human nature is inherently evil, so I'm right. Friend of wife. That's great. Human nature is inherently evil, which leads to various greed. So, Cao Cao's hobbies are understandable. The sages have said that human nature is inherently evil, and of course, we should listen to the sage's words. Combining the theories of Confucius and Shang Yang, then I have invented a sentence. Isn't it also green to have friends coming from afar? Of course, Li Shimin rolled his eyes. Such a brilliant essay left a lasting impression on people. How could Cao Cao use it to explain the rationality of your neighbor, old Wang? Are you not afraid of two Confucius and Shang Yang, wielding swords to chop you to death? You're a killer. At this moment, Emperor Wu of Han was still immersed in Shang Yang's heroic discourse, feeling that his thoughts were about to be overturned. However, it was impossible for him to give up. He quickly recalled all the members of the legalist school and ranked them all for him. Finally, the earliest origin was discovered. Although far away, one must be executed. If anyone wants to be earlier than anyone else, then Shang Yang is not the one to be hurt. Before him, there were Li Gui and Guan Zhong. Shang Yang may not necessarily be absent. Influenced by their thoughts, according to your logic, whoever is earlier is the founder, then you say it's Guan Zhong. Didn't you say that to become a saint, one must be the founder of the doctrine? Chen Tong smiled and said, "Oh, I finally met my opponent. Do you still understand? It's not uncommon to know Guan Zhong, but you can still know Li Qian." Chen Tong. Not bad, there are people who were even earlier than Shang Yang and were also members of the legalist school. But why do I say that Shang Yang was the founder of the new theory? That's because he was the founder of the new theory. Do you know the 3 schools of legalism? What kind of thing? Everyone was taken aback. Did the legalist still assign them? Do you still have 2 sects of sword qi? Emperor Wu of Han was in a daze. How did the legalist school assign him? Although far away, one must be executed. I only know that 100 schools of thought contend, and I have never heard of legalism dividing into 3 schools. Who knows? Heart of the Phantom Sea. I don't know. Friend of wife. It's completely bewildered. Everyone was scrolling through the screen, and only Emperor Qin Shi Huang's eyes lit up. He felt that it was becoming more and more interesting. Surprisingly, there were still people who knew about the 3 schools of legalism. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Zhu Di is a good emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Zhu Di is a good emperor. In the chat group, Emperor Qin Shi Huang was no longer in a hurry to inquire. De Qin Zhen Long. Then tell me, what are the 3 schools of legalism? As soon as Emperor Qin Shi Huang's words were spoken, his colleagues of Emperor Wu of Han were all shocked to find that there really were 3 schools of legalism. No one dared to doubt what Qin Shi Huang said. After all, Qin Shi Huang was the person who had the most say in legalism. Winning the Qin royal family relied on legalism to unify the 6 countries. At this moment, everyone is holding their breath and staring intently at the chat group. Chen Tong. The 3 schools of legalism are Legalist School of Power, Legalist School of Art, and Legalist School of Law. The representative figure of the Legalist School of Momentum, Shen Xing, is revered as Shen Zi. He combines legalism with Taoism, emphasizing the principles of following the law and respecting the ruler. governing without action, adapting to the overall situation, and guiding according to the situation. The representative figure of the legalist school of art is Shen Buyu, who is revered as Shenzi. He emphasizes listening alone, seeing alone, and making decisions independently. While complying with the law, advocating for monarchy, implementing high-pressure rule, and closely monitoring and controlling ministers are the key to managing the country well. In fact, although these two factions may be called the rule of law, they are both a combination of the rule of law and the rule of man. Cao Cao frowned and pondered for a moment. Friend of wife. Listen, it feels like these two factions are not very good. It's completely different from what I know of legalism. There is no comparability with Han Fizi's viewpoint. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Yes, it may seem like the rule of law, but in reality, it's still the rule of man. Chen Tong smiled and frantically tapped his fingers on the keyboard. Chen Tong. So, this third sect of legalism is completely different. The founder of the legalist school of thought was Shang Yang. Shang Yang's Dharma commentary shook the seven kingdoms. He proposed two concepts. Firstly, there are no two laws in the whole country. Secondly, there is no one outside the law. The meaning of these two sentences is that a country can only have one kind of law, and this kind of law must be followed by everyone, and no one can escape the constraints of the law. At that time, Zhou Tianzi was still revered, so Shang Yang put forward the most beautiful and classic words of the legalist school. The emperor breaks the law and commits the same crime as the common people. His theory of legalism is precisely the current spirit of the law. And all of Han Fizi's theories are derived from these two sentences by Shang Yang. So Shang Yang is truly worthy, the ancestor of legalism. What? Is it surprising that Shang Yang was the first to propose that the emperor committed the same crime as the common people when he violated the law? The people in the emperor's chat group only felt the weight of history. Opening up this ancient history of Yan and Huang, they felt the great wisdom of the ancients. Friend of wife. Good one, there are no two laws in the whole country, and there is no one outside the law. What a good person. The emperor commits the same crime as the common people. I have gained a lot of knowledge today. It turns out that the legalism was in the hands of Shang Yang, and it has become what we are today. 100 schools of thought contend, and all saints rise together. That was truly a brilliant and splendid era. Cao Cao was extremely excited at this moment, as if he had taken a sip of old wine and tasted the essence of time, leaving a lingering fragrance on his lips and teeth. Emperor Wu of Han was extremely shocked. They always thought that Han Fizi was the culmination of legalism, but to their surprise, Shang Yang had already laid the foundation for legalism. And everyone in the future is basically just constantly elaborating on the two sentences that Shang Yang said. Is this the spirit of the law? Although far away, one must be executed. Amazing, the essence of legalism can be explained in just two sentences. This is really a habit of our ancestors, like the military strategists. Soldiers are cunning, go to war to attack. Li Shimin was also shocked at this moment. Unexpectedly, in the brilliant ancient history of Yan and Huang, in that glorious era of 100 schools of thought, any person could become a saint and a sun. Their theories, if placed in modern times, can obscure the brilliance of an era. Chen Tong is still continuing to code at this moment. Chen Tong. Actually, you are not familiar with the concept of fazu at all. Shang Yang became a fazu not only because he proposed the spirit of the law. More importantly, Shang Yang carried out reforms. In history, legalism is completely different from other schools of thought. Legalism emphasizes practice, and without practice as its foundation, it cannot become a true legalism. Shang Yang's reform established a system for the state of Qin. 9 discussions on strengthening Qin. Do you know how weak the Qin state was at that time? At that time, the Qin state was almost destroyed by the Wei state. The state of Wei united with the 6 states, preparing to divide and destroy Qin. Qin poured all its resources and bribed the 6 states, which gave them a chance to struggle on the brink of death. Qin Shaogong was eager for talents and sent his most sincere invitation to the 6 kingdoms. As long as anyone is willing to make Qin stronger, he is willing to hand over all military and political power, and even willing to share Qin with powerful officials. Qin Shi Huang was deeply moved, because every generation of Qin kings, before ascending to power, had to study this period of Qin history and look at the inscription personally erected by Qin Shaogong, which was engraved with 4 bright red characters. Don't forget national shame. Which war song echoes in his mind? Jiujiu Lao Qin, we will go to the national crisis together, our blood will not flow dry, and we will never cease to fight until death. Chen Tong continued to output, typing like flying. Chen Tong. In this situation, Xiangyang, under the pressure of the 6 countries, carried out an unprecedented reform. Xiangyang proposed the military industry and agricultural nobility system, allowing meritorious soldiers and farmers to obtain titles, breaking the monopoly of the nobility. Its impact was no less than the imperial examination system. He carried out a radical reform in military, agriculture, economy, customs, and other aspects, which led to a surge in the comprehensive national strength of Qin. Moreover, Xiangyang's dual cultivation of martial arts and his military skills are no less than those of Sun Bin and Pang Wan. Some even speculate that Xiangyang is his disciple, Guiguzi. He is Sun Bin and Pang Wan's fellow disciple. He controlled the military and political power of the state of Qin. The Battle of Heshi directly shed 100 years of national shame on the state of Qin, conquered the land of Heshi, and allowed weak Qin to defeat the hegemon Wei, shaking the 6 states. Even the Zhou emperor had to send envoys to congratulate him. Xiangyang also oversaw the construction of Xianyang city and established the capital of Qin state, Xianyang, to defend and attack. Xiangyang finally led the state of Qin out of Hanggu to the west, marking the beginning of Qin's annexation of the 6 states. Qin Shaogong lived up to his previous promise and appointed Xiangyang as his ruler. His position was still above that of the crown prince. Xiangyang was the most shining presence of that era, and even Sun Bin did not approve of it. The king of Qi clashed head-on with the state of Qin. Xiangyang is still alive and has made contributions. If he is not the founder of the legalist school, who can still be the founder of the legalist school? At this moment, Chen Tong's blood is surging, but he is the most dazzling presence in the ancient history of Yan and Huang. 100 schools of thought contend, and legalism is the ultimate winner. Zhu Di's eyes widened, and Xiangyang was still a soldier. He suddenly felt an endless admiration for Xiangyang in his heart. He was truly a fierce person, with dual cultivation in military strategy, strong reform in Qin, and a great victory over the hegemon Wei in the Battle of Heshi. Kill your 10 tribes, powerful, moved the capital of Qin to Xianyang, enriched the country and strengthened the army. The most crucial thing is that he can still fight. I have never heard of this before. Speaking of this period of history, Emperor Qin Shi Huang's eyes were bright. The state of Qin truly rose from the hands of Duke Shaogong of Qin and became a rightful hegemon. Chen Tong's eyes were filled with infinite regret, and he quickly typed a line of words. Chen Tong. But in the end, Qin state still defeated Xiangyang. After the death of Duke Shaogong of Qin, his son King Huiwen of Qin, Ing Si, had just come to power when he falsely accused Xiangyang of rebellion. Xiangyang was ultimately split by chariots and destroyed 9 tribes. Poor Xiangyang, he wanted to escape from the state of Qin, but because his reform was too successful, the shopkeeper took him in and even sued him. Xiangyang couldn't help but lament, this is the practice of binding oneself. This is the sorrow of the reformers. After Chen Tong finished speaking, there was a sigh in the chat group. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Magnificent China and the Iron-Blooded Ming Dynasty. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 5. The magnificent China and the iron-blooded Ming Dynasty. Cao Cao looked up to the sky and sighed deeply, regretting the ancestor of the legalist school. Friend of wife. Shang Yang enforced the law without avoiding the powerful, and the crown prince broke the law and deposed the crown prince according to the law. Due to the crown prince's young age, according to the law, his guardian, also known as the teacher, was punished. The grand tutor of King Huiwen of Qin, who was his own uncle Qian, had his nose cut off. As soon as King Huiwen of Qin became emperor, he immediately split Shang Yang's chariot. How merciless! The Qin has let down Lord Shang. Cao Cao's words resonated with the emperors. This is a typical hero of slaughter. And Shang Yang supported the weak Qin with one hand, allowing the Qin state to dominate in chaotic times. Li Shimin, as a representative of those who did not kill heroes, immediately expressed his dissatisfaction. Eternal Li heir. The great Qin dynasty has let down Lord Shang. Although far away, he must be executed. Great Qin has let down Lord Shang. Punish your 10 tribes. The great Qin has let down the Lord Shang. Wu Zetian also had tearful eyes, thinking of the ancient sage who had spoken out for the sake of Yan Huang, saying that the emperor had committed the same crime as the common people. But he was torn apart by the Qin state's car, which he devoted his whole life to, and she felt extremely uncomfortable in her heart. Heart of the sea. The Qin has let down Lord Shang. At this moment, Qin Shi Huang felt a great sense of guilt in his eyes. Every reformer had sacrificed so much for future generations, but did not receive the respect they deserved. And Shang Yang is his crime of the great Qin. Shang Jun. I have suffered a lot from you, Indochine. It was you who reformed and strengthened Qin, laying the foundation for my great Qin for eternity, but was defeated by me. The Qin royal family's chariot split and you died, and the Manchu tribe was destroyed. I represent the victory over Qin ancestors and apologize to Lord Shang. Qin Shi Huang bowed deeply to the back cover of Shangyang, the land of Shang Luo. The soldiers around me are now filled with tears of excitement. It is the blessing of Lord Shang that they have today. It was Shang Jun's method to allow meritorious individuals to obtain titles, so that they could become the most respected people in the great Qin dynasty through their military achievements and be granted the title of wife and son. The soldiers knelt down one by one and said to Emperor Qin Shi Huang, "Please grant the title of Shang Jun. Please grant the title of Shang Jun. The soldiers shouted angrily from their mouths, stirring their hearts and making Qin Shi Huang burst into tears. He exclaimed excitedly, "Back in the day, our ancestor Qin Shaogong once said, whoever can make Qin stronger, he is willing to share the state of Qin with them." Afterwards, Shang Yang's reform made Qin prosperous and strong. He was appointed as the Lord of Shang. I think it's not enough. Today, I, in the name of Emperor Qin of Great Qin, posthumously confer the title of Shang Jun on me as Great Qin, King of Qin Shang. Winning Qin's children, I am willing to pay tribute to the kindness of the King of Qin and Shang with the gift of my ancestors. I have fulfilled my ancestors' wishes, and I will offer incense and fire as offerings, and worship in the ancestral temple. Qin Shang Wang, 4,000 of years. Emperor Qin Shi Huang deeply bowed and directly posthumously conferred the title of king on Shang Yang, while also enjoying the ancestral temple of the state of Qin. Qin Shang Wang, 4,000 of years. The Qin, 10,000 years. The soldiers roared fiercely, their voices piercing through the raging waves. At this moment, Qin Shi Huang and others have completely different senses. This is not just a bar spirit, but a capable bar spirit. The Qin Zhen Long. I think everyone has no objections about Chen Tong joining the group. Friend of wife. No, if he could have a beautiful wife, then there would be no objection. Emperor Wu of Han, Li Shimin, Zhu Di, and others all rolled their eyes but expressed no objection. The Qin Zhen Long. Chen Tong, this group must collect real information. We hope you can cooperate. Firstly, are you a single dog? You have a chance to win a beautiful woman. Secondly, your home address. What if you win? Thirdly, take a real photo and we won't have a conversation with Weigoran. Chen Tong smiled, this group is quite interesting. He just uploaded real information, maybe he can still find a job. It's too difficult to find a job these days. Chen Tong, 21 years old. Single, about to go on a blind date. I am a senior student majoring in history and I am about to graduate. If I have a good job, I can recommend it. Tomb Raiders, please do not contact me as my major does not match. Home address. Nude photo. JPG. Chen Tong is just ordinary and unremarkable. But it was a coveted treasure in the eyes of senior sisters. Unfortunately, senior sisters only coveted his beauty, and no one wanted to endure hardship with him. After graduation, they broke up because Chen Tong had no mines at home. Marriage is impossible without a car, house, or ticket. Suddenly, the group became lively. Although far away, one must be executed. This is even more handsome than Sima Xiangru, neither boastful nor dark, just a little less than me. Heart of the Phantom Sea. I love you. Little brother, the young woman is 18 years old, with fair skin, beautiful appearance, and a lot of gold. She is gentle and considerate, and can hurt people. Are you interested? Li Shimin's face turned black at that time. How could this woman from the Tang Dynasty be like this? Friend of wife. What a magnificent and imposing real man. Based on my observation, you can definitely find a peerless woman on earth to be your wife. I just want to say. I want to be friends with you. Cross-eyed smile. JPG. De Qin Zhen Long. Alright, newcomers join the group, be more reserved. If you have any questions, you can ask him and see how he can subvert people's values. Zhu Di was already full of energy at that time. Recently, he has been arguing with Li Shimin. Li Shimin called him a traitor, and he called Li Shimin a traitor. Both of them believe that they are the best. Especially the coup launched by the two. Punish your 10 tribes. Let me ask first. Do you know about the Jingnan campaign? Chen Tong couldn't help but laugh. Is this a test? Basically, those who have watched Ming Dynasty TV dramas, without reading history, know about the Jingnan battle. The seizure of power by Prince Yan Zhu Di and the overthrow of Emperor Jiangwen Zhu Yunwen. Moreover, he is still studying history. Chen Tong. Of course I know. Punish your 10 tribes. So, what do you think of the Jingnan campaign? What do you think, the Yan King Zhu Di who launched the overthrow of Emperor Jiangwen and personally seized his nephew Jiangshan? At this moment, in the Taiming Palace. Zhu Di clenched his fist. Just half a month ago. He joined forces with Prince Ning and other feudal lords to attack the imperial capital of Emperor Jiangwen. Forced Emperor Jiangwen to abandon the city and flee overseas. Zhu Di, sitting on the throne of the 95th emperor, should have been full of energy. However, scholars, great Confucian officials, and even local people all said that Zhu Di was extremely rebellious, killing the emperor and seizing power. Moreover, Feng Xiaoru refused to draft an edict for him, and Zhu Di was so angry that he wanted to execute the 10 families of Feng Xiaoru. Zhu Di felt that he was right. But he can't stop the crowd. Moreover, we must bear the eternal curse of regicide and usurpation of power. Those courtiers, openly praising him for his merits, but secretly they don't know how to draw a circle to curse him. He is very empty and anxious. Becoming the supreme being in the world, he realized that his wife seemed to be separated from her, and his son began to fear him. He really became a lonely family. It wasn't until this month when he woke up to the Emperor chat group and had some communication with his peers that he finally felt a lot more relaxed. He doesn't need to be recognized, but he hopes to receive a fair historical evaluation. I can't see that Zhu Di is an honest person, just bully him like this. Zhu Di was spinning a teacup in his hand, but his heart was extremely nervous. And at this moment, in the chat group, it's unusually quiet. The Tai Chi Palace of the Great Tang Dynasty. Li Shimin sat upright on the dragon chair, unable to help but squint his eyes. If you can't even answer this question, what's the use of me asking you? This kind of waste should be brought up in the chat group as soon as possible to avoid revealing our secrets here. Li Shimin's eyes were cold and sharp, which startled all the civil and military officials below. Wei Zheng's heart sank. Did your majesty, after launching the Xuanwu Gate Rebellion, now feel that it is inappropriate to keep the Supreme Emperor and want to eradicate the root cause? Wei Zheng cursed Li Shimin in his heart like a dog's blood. As long as Li Shimin dared to do so, he would spare his life and even spit at Li Shimin's face. The Great Qin Empire. On the parade carriage, Emperor Qin Shi Huang held down his sword and his eyes burst into a brilliant light. This emperor chat group is related to the fortune of the descendants of Yan and Huang. If you are really useless, how can I let you know such a big secret? For the Yan and Huang ethnic groups, no matter who you are or where you are, I will also kill you. Yan Huang will never die. Chen Tong shook his neck and chuckled lightly. This is more amateur than asking questions from Jihu. Chen Tong typed his mechanical keyboard with a popping sound. In the Battle of Jingnan, Zhu Di overthrew the emperor as a feudal lord. Defeat the weak over the strong, use a single army to confront the power of the whole country, and achieve a great victory. It can be considered the most perfect coup. And Zhu Di's claim to be emperor is the true prelude to the unyielding and resolute Ming dynasty. Chen Tong used the words resolute and resolute to describe the Ming dynasty. Let that indomitable pride appear in front of everyone in an instant. Zhu Di suddenly rose up. There was a touch of shock and emotion in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The function of titles makes emperors unable to sit still. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The function of titles makes emperors unable to sit still. I didn't expect this newcomer to have such a high evaluation of what I did. Zhu Di's excited hands were trembling. He knew that these civil servants under Emperor Jiangwen sincerely praised him and almost wiped him out. All of them, with a smile on their face and NMP in their hearts. Moreover, the chairs have been moved and peanuts and melon seeds have been prepared. Let's take a look at Zhu Di's notorious reputation on the street. All kinds of novels that smear him have been written. Just wait for him, Zhu Di, to execute the 10 tribes of Fang Xiaoru, and then everyone will criticize him and shape him into a rebellious and tyrannical tyrant. Although Zhu Di doesn't care about people's opinions. But these literati and scholars, to slander him in historical books like this, also makes it difficult for Zhu Di to calm his mind. However, when a literati wields a pen like a knife, how can he control the leisurely public? Zhu Di did not expect to receive such praise from the newcomers in the emperor's chat group, and he felt incredibly comfortable in his heart. Those who can join this group are all excellent peers, Qin Emperor and Han Wu, they are all outstanding people from ancient times. Your Majesty, what's wrong with you? Empress Su looked at her husband Zhu Di, both throwing cups and foolishly enjoying herself there. I feel a little uneasy in my heart. My husband, the former king of Yan, and now the emperor, may have gone crazy because of the successful rebellion. Her impression of her husband was not this kind of person. The king of Yan guarded the north, making the remnants of the Yuan dynasty dare not cross the Thunder Pond. He was a true hero killed among thousands of soldiers and horses. It's okay, I just met an interesting person. Zhu Di had a slight smile on his face and waved his hand. Empress Su is even more worried. People, there is no one here, only she and her 2 sons. Our dad, oh no, it's father's emperor. It looks so scary. Zhu Gaoxiu bumped into his fat, pig-like big brother Zhu Gaoqi. Zhu Gaoqi nodded foolishly. He also thinks that his father's emperor is a bit scary. Is it true that becoming an emperor means becoming the emperor, and he will be constantly nagging? Zhu Di ignored the family members who were frightened by his abnormal behavior, but instead looked at the chat group interface in his mind. At this moment, the chat group has exploded. Friend of wife. Another coup, the people behind you really know how to play. By the way, is the Empress Dowager of Emperor Jiangwen beautiful? Although far away, one must be executed. Shocked. JPG, is it really fake? The feudal lord could have ruined the emperor. This is not on the same scale, with financial resources, military strength, people's hearts, and righteousness. If we don't occupy any of them, then we win. This completely subverts my understanding. Back in the time of Emperor Jing of Han, the Seven Kingdoms rebelled and had enough financial and military strength to compete with the emperor, but in the end, they were all suppressed. I can only say, Zhu Di, you're amazing. It seems that I need to be careful of my uncles and brothers. Grinding the knife, Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, had a new understanding of the feudal lord. He never expected that the feudal lord would be so terrifying. Eternal Li heir. The most perfect coup in history. You may not know that there is another Li Shimin who launched the Xuanwu Gate incident. Within one day, the crown prince, King Qi, and emperor were resolved and directly ascended to the throne as emperor. Where did you put the Xuanwu Gate incident? How could Zhu Di's Jingnan campaign be perfect? Li Shimin sat in the Tai Chi palace, feeling very unhappy. He believed that he was the greatest emperor in history. It is comparable to the martial arts of Qin Emperor and Han Dynasty. How can one be compared to a future Zhu Di? Upon seeing it, Chen Tong suddenly became interested. After all, he is from the history department. Zhu Di is also one of his favorite emperors. Moreover, regarding the Xuanwu Gate incident and the Jingnan campaign, which is more perfect, it is also a topic of debate among classmates. He was no longer careless, but sat up straight and began typing seriously with one hand. Li Shimin has indeed enjoyed a great reputation in history. Zhu Di and Li Shimin are even more outstanding. Let's not talk about them for now. Just talking about the coup launched by the two, Li Shimin and Zhu Di are completely incomparable. At this moment, in the great Tang dynasty, in the Tai Chi palace, Li Shimin angrily patted the table directly. I disagree. Surprisingly, he said that I am not as good as Zhu Di, who likes to execute the 10 clans. It's simply despicable. The ministers in the hall couldn't help but look at each other. What happened to the emperor today? Qing Yaojin shook his arm and shouted loudly, Your Majesty, it's that bastard who's against us again. Let old Qing chop him down with an axe. As he spoke, he glared at Wei Zheng with his eyes, thinking that this old boy should be chopped the most. If he eats beef, he will be killed. Who will not die a cow for 10.5 days? Bull, it must have been killed by oneself. It's not that old Qing wants to eat beef. Wei Zheng snorted coldly and then bowed to Li Shimin, saying, Your Majesty, you must always pay attention to your words and actions. Such a big fuss will not make the world laugh. Li Shimin was so hung up that he didn't get angry. He thought to himself that he should pack and deliver Wei Zheng to Zhu Di. Let Zhu Di directly execute your 10 tribes. Bullying me is Ming Jun, don't you kill my advisor. Li Shimin was angry for a while before he sat down with a cold snort. He didn't have the heart to listen to the government anymore, but instead stared at the chat group. He wanted to see what Chen Tong said. Chen Tong's typing speed is extremely fast with one hand. What else are you asking? In the Battle of Jingnan, King Zhu Di of Yan defeated Emperor Jiangwen with his strength and integrity, crushing him. Look at the Xuanwu Gate incident. Li Shimin conspired to launch a surprise attack, kill his brothers, and imprison his father. His success was not due to his meticulous planning, but rather because Li Yuan had no defense against this son. If Li Yuan was on guard against his own son, how could Li Shimin only have 800 soldiers and be able to succeed in the coup? Li Jianqing never expected that in the struggle for succession, the prince would dare to take action against his father. This directly led to the fact that since Li Shimin, the royal family has no family ties and fathers and sons can be cruel to each other. This has opened a very bad precedent for history, causing the royal controversy to repeatedly challenge human cognition. Compared to Zhu Di's Jingnan campaign, Li Shimin's Xuanwu Gate incident has lost its dignified integrity. How can the Xuanwu Gate incident be compared to the Jingnan campaign? Chen Tong's analysis made the group quiet for a while. Li Shimin sat dejectedly on the chair, clenching his fists. No matter how much he washed the floor, he couldn't wash away the fact that he had imprisoned his father with his son. Li Yuan didn't want to kill him. His so-called passive resistance was completely unfounded. At most, he said it was Li Jianqing who took the initiative. Chen Tong continues to code characters. Moreover, Li Shimin and Zhu Di were in vastly different situations at that time. Li Shimin had his own military power and generals in the imperial capital, and he controlled many forces both openly and secretly, which can be said to be on par with Crown Prince Li Jianqing. Looking at Zhu Di, he is far away in the fiefdom of Yanjing. His army of the King of Yan has been transferred from their base, and Zhu Di's son is still in the hands of Emperor Jiangwen as a proton. His Yanwang mansion was closely monitored by the royal guards, and there were no available soldiers in his hands. The entire city was filled with the ears and eyes of Emperor Jiangwen. Only Zhu Di, who has a heart as iron, can survive in the face of death, create a magnificent world, and counterattack to become an emperor when he has nothing left. If Li Shimin is expelled from the capital, do you think he can still become the 95th supreme sovereign at such a disadvantage? Chen Tong's message was sent out, leaving the group speechless for a long time. Everyone is weighing whether they can, like Zhu Di, rise from poverty to poverty and become emperors by changing places. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Is it unworthy to have children without money? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Is it unworthy to have children without money? In the Tai Chi palace of the Tang Dynasty, Li Shimin sat dejectedly on the dragon chair. The reason why I was eager to launch the Xuanwu Gate incident was that Li Jianqing wanted to transfer me out of the capital and rush to the fiefdom. I just knew that if I went to the fiefdom, I would have no connection to the throne, which is why I launched a coup. I don't have the confidence to use the power of a feudal lord to counter the entire Tang Empire. In this regard, I am not as good as that Zhu Di. He felt bitter in his heart. If he could also openly crush Li Jianqing, why should he bear the eternal reputation? Leave a stain on life that will never be washed away. Father's kindness and filial piety, a timeless reputation, isn't it fragrant? Heart of the Phantom Sea. I've always thought Li Shimin couldn't do it. After listening to the little brother's analysis, it was indeed so. Friend of wife. No way. How did you know? I pinched my fingers and calculated that there was an affair. Cross-eyed smile. JPG, punish your 10 tribes. Amazing, the truth is revealed. In the Daming Palace, Zhu Di laughed heartily. This Chow Chow is so precise that he can count it all. He is in a great mood at this moment. Just say it, how could I possibly be inferior to that stinky Li heir who takes over his brother and wife and forces his father to abdicate? Knowing me, Chen Tong. The analysis is simply excellent, he's really a genius. Zhu Gaoqi and Zhu Gaoxiu both looked at each other in confusion. Who is Chen Tong, who made Father Emperor value him so much? Is it even more powerful than Lu Bowen, the advisor of the imperial grandfather in the past? A touch of treasure flashed in their eyes, and such a person should quickly make friends. Father, if you are truly a great talent, you should be rewarded in order to demonstrate your great imperial kindness. He must be extremely grateful to you and be of great use to you, said Zhu Gaoqi with a simple and honest voice. Zhu Gaoxiu glanced at the fat pig like big brother and thought to himself, are you now like competing for Huang Wei? No way, I won't agree. He immediately advanced and wanted to reward Chen Tong greatly. Right, be rewarded. Zhu Di laughed heartily, and just because Chen Tong had left Li Er speechless, he should be rewarded. He has a similar background to Li Shimin and has always had a comparative mindset. The two of them were in a fierce confrontation in the group, and neither of them took advantage. Today, it was like eating chilled watermelon on a hot day, as if it was overwhelming Li Shimin. What should I reward? Zhu Di made a mistake and prepared to give him 10,000 taels of gold directly. Father, rewards should be in their favor in order to be effective. My son believes that gold is too vulgar, and calligraphy and painting are the best choice. Zhu Gaoqi immediately provided advice for Zhu Di. Yes. Go and deliver the most precious painting of Wu Daozi to me in the imperial study. Zhu Di had long known that red envelopes could be sent within this chat group, and they were not just money, but also physical items. He didn't dare to send red envelopes in front of his wife and son. After all, this chat group is his biggest secret. Soon. A system message appeared in the chat group. Kill your 10 tribes, send it to Chen Tong, an exclusive red envelope. Please click to claim it. Chen Tong was taken aback. Is this killing you 10 tribes the iron powder of Zhu Di? I thought I was happy Zhu Di, so I sent myself a red envelope. He rubbed his hands and used his blessed right hand to click to claim it. At the next moment, Chen Tong was stunned. A message appears in the chat group. You have received an ancient painting. Chen Tong is feeling frustrated and wants to curse. Your red envelope is too fake, isn't it? Can you still be more careful? He didn't notice that the silent phone received a delivery text message. At the same time, Shunfeng Express received a courier order with a guaranteed value of 1 billion yuan. Suddenly, the entire Shunfeng headquarters was stunned. This TM is crazy, he has no place to spend money, and something needs to be insured for 1 billion yuan. Eternal Li Er. Someone is too shameless, just launch a money attack. Chen Tong, we can't rebel. How do you evaluate Zhu Di? At this moment, the chat group is quiet. Cao Cao, Emperor Wu of Han, and others all wanted to know how Chen Tong evaluated Zhu Di as the emperor. Zhu Di himself is also very nervous. Just now, he sent out his most precious calligraphy and painting. Chen Tong, are you really sorry not to brag about me? What an eternal emperor, cultured and virtuous, slapping me hard on the face, I can bear it. After he sent out the red envelope, he called his wife and son over, as if wanting to share a more exciting moment. Chen Tong smiled. Use one finger to leisurely type out 4 words. Not a good type. Suddenly, the chat group exploded. De Qin Zhen Long. Ha, yes, it's not a good type. I haven't seen this younger generation before, but I can tell from the internet name I look up, kill your 10 clans. I just want to know, 10 clans, are they special? How do they calculate? Friend of wife. It's quite my legacy. I'm not a good person either. By the way, I must check if there is anyone with the surname Zhu among my friends, and my wife is also very beautiful. In the Tai Chi Palace of the Tang Dynasty. Li Shimin just had an unpleasant expression on his face, and now he's almost laughing to death. He's really comfortable. Eternal Li Er. Just after sending out the red envelope, I was hit hard. Children, do you have many question marks? At this moment, Zhu Di was enjoying a sip of wine and directly sprayed his son Zhu Gaoqi's face. This reversal is too fast. Just now I was laughing at Li Er for not being able to do it, but Li Er came back to mock me. Especially, who just said about rewards. He turned around and glared angrily at his 2 sons, then slapped them on the head. Let you have some ulterior motives. Let you reward me. Let you send calligraphy and paintings. Zhu Gaoqi and Zhu Gaoxiu were completely overwhelmed by the beating. What is the situation? At this moment, within the chat group. Although far away, one must be executed. Tell me more about how Zhu Di is not a good person, I'm curious. Chen Tong shook his neck and quickly typed. Zhu Di, he killed 10 tribes and 9 tribes of Fang Xiaoru, but he still thinks it's not enough. Order to bring Fang Xiaoru's disciples and friends one by one to be killed in front of Fang Xiaoru. For each person killed, ask Fang Xiaoru how he feels. After Zhu Di invented the extermination of the 10 clans, he also invented the Guaman copying. The so-called Guaman copying means that anyone who can get involved in relationships will be implicated in plagiarism. Even unrelated neighbors will be implicated in harm. Its violence and stubbornness, as well as the harshness of criminal law, have opened a historical precedent. Is such a person a good type? Eternal Li heir. Ha ha ha. Okay. Now that I feel comfortable, I just want to see Zhu Di's expression at this moment. Li Shimin sat on the dragon chair, feeling extremely comfortable. In his previous conversations, he was often scolded by Zhu Di, always accusing himself of killing his brother and imprisoning his father. As a result, this guy is even more outrageous than himself. If you still want to be on par with me, you can dream it. Reward, great reward. Give me 10,000 taels of gold, I want to recharge. Li Shimin was overjoyed and immediately ordered someone to take 10,000 taels of gold and put it in the imperial study, preparing to send a cash red envelope directly after the meeting. Wei Zheng, Changsun Wuji and others, even Qing Yaojin, who used to have thick lines, were completely bewildered. Recharge, what is it? At this moment, Zhu Di's face was particularly bright. He may not care about the opinions of the world, but in front of his peers, he felt a feeling of being publicly executed. The spine is about to be pierced, feeling extremely embarrassed and angry. Punish your 10 tribes. 50 steps laugh at 100 steps. At all members, who hasn't done 1 or 2 wayward things. The chat group was suddenly quiet. Chen Tong did not stop, but continued to code with one hand. Don't worry, I haven't finished speaking yet. Chen Tong's pen sharpened. Zhu Di is not a good person, but he is a good emperor, he can be called the Lord of Prosperity. As soon as this sentence is spoken, Zhu Di suddenly stood up. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. $1 billion insurance for calligraphy and painting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. $1 billion insurance for calligraphy and painting. Zhu Di is not a good person, but a good emperor. He can be called the heroic lord of the prosperous world. Look at the information in the chat group. Li Shimin couldn't sit still and suddenly stood up. Cao Cao also put away his smile, his gaze burning. Lu Che also sat up in shock in the Weiyang Palace. They are all outstanding people who believe that their achievements can reflect the sun and moon, and they all leave their names in the spirit of eternity. Master Xing Shixiang. It is a high evaluation of the emperor's grand ambition and dominance. Li Shimin's heart was filled with anxiety. In the chat group, simply type and ask. Chen Tong, Zhu Di executed 10 tribes and was willful and cruel. He treated the common people in such a way that such a king was a typical example of a foolish ruler. It should be noted that water can carry boats and capsize them. How could he become Lord Xing Shixiang? Chen Tong sat up straight and got serious. Finally, in addition to his blessed right hand, he freely wielded it on the mechanical keyboard. Zhu Di is one of the most headstrong emperors in history, not one of them. However, he is a brave and resolute iron-blooded king. Move the capital directly from the comfortable Yingtian prefecture to the front line of resisting foreign enemies, Beiping. At that time, the civil and military officials of the Manchu dynasty strongly opposed it, believing that if the enemy crossed the Great Wall in Beiping, they could drive straight in, and the king was afraid of being killed. And Zhu Di, on the other hand, shouted out the most iron-blooded and domineering words of the feudal dynasty. Not being a vassal, not paying tribute, not making peace, the emperor guarding the country's gates, the king dying for the country. Isn't it a good emperor who can stand on the front line of resisting foreign enemies with his flesh and blood, guarding the people behind him? Chen Tong's words directly exploded in the chat group. Although far away, one must be executed. What a emperor guarding the country's gates, a king dying for the country. Zhu Di, you're amazing. I have never heard such ironclad and passionate words before. At this moment, I want to take my sword to the battlefield. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Although I am a woman, your refusal to marry me makes me feel the dominance and responsibility of an iron-blooded man. A true man is one who doesn't have to trade women for peace. Friend of wife. Zhu Di, I admire you. I would rather harm the world than let others harm me. But you, on the other hand, have to guard the country's gates for the people of the world. I am not as good as you. De Qin Zhen Long. Good. What a Zhu Di, hard. At this moment. In the Daming Palace. Zhu Di himself was stunned. Is it really me who said such a domineering and unparalleled thing? Relocate the capital to Beiping and guard the country's gates. I feel uplifted just thinking about it. His face turned extremely red, and when he saw the praise from his peers in the chat group, his blood couldn't help but boil. These emperors are usually very proud. But at this moment, everyone gave themselves a thumbs up. He felt that his life had reached its peak. Any Feng Xiaoru, any scholar or literati, any eternal reputation, they were all nothing. Zhu Gaoxiu noticed that something was wrong with his father, as if he was on the verge of exploding. His father was notorious for his solitary personality, and he would seek revenge. Is it that Chen Tong who offended his father? After receiving rewards, that father felt uncomfortable and wanted to retrieve the things. Zhu Di is completely capable of doing this. Father, you don't deserve to be so angry. If Chen Tong really makes you angry, just kill him. Zhu Gaoxiu immediately spoke up. Just now, he was taken first by his elder brother, and this time it's his turn. What? Zhu Di was originally very pleased and wanted Chen Tong to praise him more. Unexpectedly, this foolish son was going to slaughter people. You despicable bastard, as a member of the imperial family, how could you possibly kill anyone casually? Don't you know that I love the people like a son? Zhu Di slapped Zhu Gaoxiu directly on the head. Zhu Gaoxiu was completely confused. Just now, you felt that you shouldn't have been rewarded, so you regretted beating someone. Also, if you love the people like a child, don't talk nonsense. You are about to execute 10 tribes. But if he flatters his horse's hooves, he can only secretly say that he has bad luck. He thinks to himself, Chen Tong, don't let him bump into him, or else he will punish your 10 clans. Chen Tong did not stop typing, and for Zhu Di, he still has a lot to say. Chen Tong. Moreover, Zhu Di's influence goes beyond that. Since the Song and Yuan dynasties, my descendants of Yan and Huang have been bent and lost their pride. Many even kneel and lick outsiders, thinking that they were born lowly and ashamed of their origins. But Zhu Di established an iron-blooded soul for the Ming dynasty. Let me, Huang Zimin, straighten my spine again and stand up. In the Ming dynasty, everyone is proud and upright, with a broken head, blood flowing, and a spine that cannot be bent. All emperors also remember Zhu Di's ancestral teachings, life and death are indifferent, if you don't agree, do it. Zhu Di, he is the hardest bone among all emperors. The history of the Ming dynasty has many unsatisfactory aspects, but the only thing that makes people feel satisfied is that if you dare to provoke me, I will kill you. If you can fight well, you need to fight. If you can't fight well, you still need to fight. Never bowing down. One word, hard. Boom! At this moment, everyone saw the speech of newcomer Chen Tong. They were all deeply shocked. In different time and space, each emperor's eyes showed an incredible expression. In a century-long imperial dynasty, an emperor can be excellent, but it is absolutely not guaranteed that every generation of emperors will be excellent. Emperor Wu of Han, Liu Che, learned from Cao Cao how incompetent the descendants of the Liu family were in the late Eastern Han dynasty. Even the first emperor had sons like Qin too who were not yet successful. Although far away, one must be executed. After Zhu Di, every emperor has been like this. Has there ever been a soft bone that sells its country for glory and lives a miserable life? Chen Tong smiled and said that as a historian, this can still be guaranteed. When the Ming dynasty emperors mentioned foreign wars, they would all scream and rush forward, causing the ministers to be anxious. This is the characteristic of this dynasty, and also the most fascinating aspect. Despite the inevitable corruption of the imperial dynasty and the emergence of many bizarre emperors in the Ming dynasty, some focused on carpentry, others enjoyed fighting animals and walking birds, and some were captured. There is no weak bone, always remember Zhu Di's words. The emperor guards the country's gates, the king dies, and the country vows not to bow down. Zhu Di, proud, bold, domineering, and iron-blooded. He is not afraid of eternal criticism, does not change history books, and later generations criticize him for being violent and willful, but when it comes to Zhu Di, who doesn't yearn for that iron-blooded Ming dynasty? Everyone is proud and resolute, with an unprecedented sense of national pride, and deep down, there is a sense of pride that only I am a magnificent country. At this moment, Chen Tong seemed to have returned to that iron-blooded Ming dynasty. Since the Ming dynasty swept away the Song and Yuan dynasties, the decline of the Chinese people has once again awakened the soul of the nation. Chen Tong seemed to be in the long river of history, seeing the proud souls one by one, with iron hooves clanging and moving forward without hesitation. Glorious China, iron-blooded and bright. In the great Tang dynasty, in the Tai Chi Palace. Li Shimin took a cold breath and did not change the history books. The 10 clans of punishments, without embellishment, just spread like this. Aren't you afraid of carrying eternal insults on your back? It's really hard. And it's also tough to the end. Every generation of emperors is like this, which is really impressive. Eternal Li heir. I'm pretty convinced. Zhu Di, you're amazing. Master Xing Shixiang, you deserve it. Although far away, one must be executed. Master Xing Shixiang, you truly deserve it. Finally, the great Qin True Dragon struck a decisive conclusion. Zhu Di, as the leader of the prosperous world, who dares to refuse? At this moment, tears flickered faintly in Zhu Di's eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. I'm going on a blind date, it's your treat. Thank you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. I'm going on a blind date, it's your treat. Thank you. Okay. In the Daming Palace, Zhu Di was extremely excited. With a heavy hammer, he smashed the solid wood table into pieces, and his hands were bleeding profusely. Empress Su was frightened and quickly summoned the imperial physician. Zhu Di suddenly hesitated. He was too moved. What he did has gained recognition from so many emperors, many of which were once his lifelong goals to pursue, such as Emperor Wu of Han and Emperor Qin Shi Huang. I will definitely not disappoint Chen Tong's expectations, and I want to truly rise up in the Ming dynasty. I, Zhu Di, will surely become a good emperor. What about killing the 10 clans? Feng Xiaoru, you Confucian scholars still want to suppress me and smear me. Dream it. History will give me justice. I have Chen Tong, what can you Confucian scholars do to me? Where is Zhu Di? He laughed and roared alone, which frightened Empress Su. Is it because of that damn Feng Xiaoru that he has angered his husband? Quickly, please invite the Taoist monk Yao Guangxiao to come and see your majesty. Yao Guangxiao, also known as Dao Yan, is not only a Taoist monk, but also Zhu Di's first advisor. Empress Su believes that she can definitely treat your majesty's illness. Zhu Gaoqi and Zhu Gaoxiu were trembling with fear. Father's appearance is too frightening. However, upon hearing Zhu Di mention Chen Tong's name, he immediately secretly decided to let his subordinates quickly find this extraordinary person. Surprisingly, if it can make Father Emperor lose his composure to this extent, then we must get to know each other. Quickly, Yao Guangxiao arrived. Seeing Zhu Di's appearance, he was about to comfort him and let Zhu Di calm down first. But at this moment, Zhu Di's eyes were wide open, as if petrified. Because a crisp voice appeared in his mind. Ding, Zhu Di, awarded the title of Xingshi Xiongzhu. Obtained the national health protection. Life +5, life increased by 5 years. Health +5, health level increased by 5%. Your Majesty, what's wrong with you? Empress Su's face turned pale with fear and she kept shaking Zhu Di. Zhu Di hesitated for a long time before looking surprised and saying, Empress, Dao Yan holy monk, do you believe that there are divine beings in this world? I have met divine beings. How could it be? Empress Su didn't believe it. I have never seen the Buddha before. Dao Yan is not an ordinary monk. He has learned Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, and a blend of the strengths of 100 schools of thought. He has not seen the true Buddha, so naturally he will not believe it. Look. Zhu Di wiped his hand on the dragon robe, and the hand that had been bleeding profusely just now was surprisingly intact as before. How could this be? Empress Su covered her mouth and was stunned. Zhu Di rolled up his sleeves directly. He had been a soldier all his life, and his arms, which had several scars, had all disappeared now. His steel and iron arms were filled with explosive force. Amitabha Buddha. Monk Dao Yan was shocked beyond measure and could only keep reciting Buddhist scriptures. Shenren, this Chen Tong must be a Shenren. He gave me the title of Xingshi Lord, which healed my old wounds and increased my lifespan. I feel like my whole body is now full of strength. Zhu Di was almost thrilled to death. Chen Tong, just calling your majesty the heroic lord of the prosperous era has such an effect. Is this the practice of Fengshan? The protection of national fortune and the protection of heaven? Dao Yan was inexplicably shocked. The emperor conferred the title of Zen to announce to the heavens and exchange it for great fortune. Zhu Di's eyes lit up and his lifespan increased. With the protection of his national fortune, he was able to obtain the title of Fengshan. Chen Tong, at this moment, Zhu Gaoqi and Zhu Gaoxiu's eyes turned green. At this moment, the quiet chat group was bombed by a sentence from Zhu Di. Kill your 10 tribes, Master Xingshi Xiang. At all members, ladies and gentlemen, Chen Tong has given me the title of Xingshi Xiang Lord, and I have received the protection of national health. 5 years longer lifespan, healthier body, and recovery from old injuries. I feel like I've been sealed off. In the Tai Chi palace of the Tang Dynasty, Li Shimin had just taken a sip of tea and sprayed it out. Zhu Di, you really have bad luck. Chow Chow let out a roar and sat up in shock. If he could recover from his old injuries, wouldn't it be possible for him to recover his headache without having Hua Tuo open a ladle for him? Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, is it still possible to be like this? Emperor Qin Shi Huang, Yingzheng, suddenly stood up and was shocked beyond measure. Is this the correct way to open chat groups? With an increase in lifespan, this is a path to longevity. Chen Tong, you are the one who can bring me longevity. The roar of Emperor Qin Shi Huang immediately led the surrounding generals to gather around. Meng Yi bowed and said, Your Majesty, what kind of person is Chen Tong? I will invite you here. You will have a long life, the blessing of the great Qin. Meanwhile, Zhao Gao lowered his head and a hint of greed and killing intent flashed in his eyes. Chen Tong, I Zhao Gao first obtained your method of longevity and then killed you. At this moment, Chen Tong had a bewildered expression on his face. These 10 tribes who have executed you are indeed the second most advanced patient. Isn't it just an additional title on the avatar? Isn't this a permission dog administrator that can be given? Life expectancy has increased by 5 years, thanks to the special national fortune. Can you be more sober? He thinks this person is sick. Lazy to bother with him, he immediately picked up his phone and entered Wang Zhirong, playing with the newly drawn hero, Wu Zetian. At this point, the chat group exploded. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Chen Tong, what do you think of Wu Zetian? Chen Tong was killed at the beginning of the game, and the new hero is really difficult to get started with. If he saw the Heart of the Phantom Sea, he replied directly. Chen Tong. Wu Zetian, not much. It's too difficult to play, it's not easy to get started with. Heart of the Phantom Sea. They want to use their little fists to kill you. JPG, shy, give you eyes and experience yourself. JPG, friend of wife. No scattering of dog food. Chen Tong, please evaluate Chow Chow. The higher the evaluation, the larger the red envelope. Big Chiao, little Chiao, pick whatever you want. Eternal Li Heir. Zhu Di can be considered as the leader of the prosperous world, but what about Li Shimin of the Tang Empire? Anyway, it's better than that butcher who kills 10 tribes. What do you think of the Eternal Emperor? These people looked at the title on Zhu Di's portrait and felt a surge of passion in their hearts, wishing that Chen Tong would give them a very high evaluation now. But then, Li Shimin and others discovered that Chen Tong had gone offline. Going offline at such a critical moment is really despairing for the emperor. Chen Tong had no choice, as the phone was ringing frantically at the moment, claiming that there was a courier service and that the road was too narrow for cars to enter. The courier apologized and made Chen Tong feel a bit embarrassed. Are all the express delivery services so good now? Isn't the express delivery casually thrown into the station or storage cabinet? Also, what path is impossible for your small tricycle that can reach heaven and earth? Chen Tong arrived at the agreed place with curiosity and doubt. The courier didn't see it, but instead saw a Ferrari. Then the Ferrari's windy car door opened and a delivery guy wearing work clothes walked out. With the escort of 2 security personnel, he handed over a package to Chen Tong. At that moment, Chen Tong was completely bewildered. Are you sure you're delivering the package? Did the Xinhao system just receive the payment yesterday and your identity hasn't changed for a while? You don't need to be so low-key, do you? Chen Tong felt the gradual malice in this world. The people around were also stunned by this dramatic scene. But the delivery guy held Chen Tong's hand, even more enthusiastic and full of admiration. Brother, you're amazing. It's also my first time delivering such a package. It's my first time delivering a package in my life. I took a Ferrari, and the company even provided security. I feel like I've reached the pinnacle of the express delivery industry. Brother, I want to be friends with you. Chen Tong's face turned black when he heard the phrase, be friends, and he said, get out. Chen Tong feels hurt, these wealthy people are all in bad taste. Do you not know that the delivery guy is the one who has been hit now, a courier with a price of 1 billion yuan, my commission on this order is enough for me to eat for a year, and I can boast for a lifetime. Rich people, they really know how to play. Brother, holding a painting worth at least 1 billion yuan, is as sad as holding a salted fish. Why is the gap between people so big? The people around us are completely in chaos, and the world is too surreal. Perhaps you are not here to act and attack us melon-eating people. Alright, we admit to being heartbroken. Chen Tong was very depressed, driving a luxury car to deliver packages, which was just to pretend to be forced. He wants to turn his grief and anger into an appetite, so he'll start with 10 skewers of grilled kidney. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 10 Clans of Punishments, Zhu Di, you're right. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. 10 Clans of Punishments, Zhu Di, you're right. Chen Tong finished eating the big wasted buns, then gnawed on a basket of steamed buns, and then had a bowl of rice noodles and added a poached egg. After eating, I packed a piece of stinky tofu, which made the neighbors around cry. Chen Tong, you're just an animal. Even if you go out to eat, you don't know how to notify me. Don't you know how much it costs to order takeout? Bastard, you are eating stinky tofu again. I can't stand it. It tastes so delicious. You're just a curse, I wasn't hungry before. In the hallway, Chen Tong's neighbors protested one after another. These were all college classmates who were kicked out one by their girlfriends. At this moment, they really wanted to kill Chen Tong. This is a special way to attract hatred. It's just stinky tofu. Chen Tong happily returned to his rental room and said, "My livestock, your movements have made it impossible for me to sleep. Come on, hurt each other." He turned on the computer. There are rows of messages in the group. The Qin Zhen Long withdrew a message. Heart of the Sea withdraws a message. The Qin Zhen Long withdrew a message. A group leader and an administrator, as if in a fight, saw who had more revocation messages, and hundreds of cars passed by, only seeing the wheel marks. Chen Tong. I'll go, did you guys drive? What did I miss? As soon as Chen Tong's message was released, Zhu Di's eyes burst open. He was almost furious today. Li Er, this guy, constantly encourages him, saying that water can carry a boat and also capsize it. He wants to love the people like a son and punish 10 tribes, which is not right. Zhu Di was deceived for a while, and the people in the group wanted to see if the imperial title was higher and if it had more benefits, so he was fooled by a group of big shots. Persuade him to be kind. Finally, he couldn't resist and went to the prison to interrogate Fang Xiaoru again, giving him a step down, as long as he lowered his head. As a result, Fang Xiaoru pointed at Zhu Di's nose and cursed for a while, saying that Zhu Di was cowardly. Angry Zhu Di wanted to use his sword to kill Fang Xiaoru at that time. 10 tribes must be executed. Zhu Di was in a rage in the palace, but both his former subordinates and the civil officials were advising him. The scholars of the Imperial Academy have rolled up their sleeves and are ready to charge into the palace. Even in the market, various rumors about Zhu Di are rampant. But no one can come up with a solution. The most common thing is what the generals say, kill. Can we kill all of them? He can't stop you from talking to everyone. At this moment, news came from Chen Tong, as if he had seen a savior. Immediately complaining in the group, he felt that only Chen Tong could understand him. Kill your 10 tribes, Master Xing Xixiang. Chen Tong, that's it. Let me ask you something. Should Fang Xiaoru deserve to die? Is it wrong for Zhu Di to punish his 10 clans? Chen Tong. I haven't asked you yet, what's going on with that painting by Wu Daozi? I can't have such a valuable item. Send me an address and I'll send it back to you. Eternal Li Er. Don't worry about the broken calligraphy and painting, first tell me, Zhu Di, this reckless man, should we kill Fang Xiaoru? He still has reason to punish 10 tribes. In the imperial palace of the Tang Dynasty, Li Shimin was holding Yang Fei. When he saw Chen Tong go online, he immediately wanted to watch Chen Tong confront Zhu Di, the butcher. Since earning the title of Xingshi Xiongzhu, I have been scolding myself crazily in chat groups, saying that I have taken in my sister-in-law and married my younger siblings. Thinking of this, Li Shimin's face became unnatural. Do you think Yang Fei is Yang Guang's daughter? She wasn't his younger sister before, Li Yuanji's wife. This, Your Majesty, what's wrong with you? Yang Fei quickly asked when she saw something was wrong with Li Shimin. Li Shimin's face was extremely strange. The more Zhu Di scolded him, how could he feel that Yang Fei was more beautiful? Illusion, this must be an illusion. At this moment, everyone in the group is gradually online. De Qin Zhen Long. Yes, Chen Tong, hurry up and say it. Everyone believes that Zhu Di should not have executed the 10 clans. Can you also share your opinion? Friend of wife. Yes, we need to be kind to others, I'm good at being friends with people. Cross-eyed smile. JPG, Chen Tong smiled and pressed his hands on the keyboard, making a clattering sound. Chen Tong. Damn Feng Xiaoru. 20 tribes should be executed. Chen Tong just typed a few words, and the group immediately exploded. Li Shimin. Did you make a mistake? Friend of a wife. Child, I saw you wrong. Did you take someone's hand short and eat their mouth soft? De Qin Zhen Long. Heart of the Phantom Sea. Blunt face. JPG, little brother, you've become a stranger to others. Your persona has collapsed, do you know? Punish your 10 clans, Master Xing Xixiang. I knew we had a bad temper. Ali, we just finished our work. Chen Tong smiled, and throughout history, whenever we talk about Feng Xiaoru, we all talk about how cruel Zhu Di was. But what he wants to say is to approach this issue from a different perspective. From the dawn of life, from the mountains and the country. Chen Tong. Why do I say that Feng Xiaoru deserves to die? It's not excessive to punish him even for his 20 clans. That's because what he did was too insane. People all know that Feng Xiaoru is a great Confucian scholar, with an upright character, and does not follow the trend of being too popular. But everyone ignored what he did, what a great loss his nation and country would suffer. Feng Xiaoru was one of the most trusted and important ministers of Emperor Jingnan. He encouraged Emperor Jingnan to restore the slave society system, which was promoted by Confucius. To restore the Zhou ritual and practice the well field. During Confucius' era, his governing strategies were outdated, let alone over 1,000 years later. The Ming Dynasty began to see the emergence of the embryonic era of capitalism. He even implemented a slave society system, and that foolish Emperor Jingnan really did something. If it weren't for Zhu Di's rebellion, then during the reign of Emperor Jingnan, the Ming Dynasty would have experienced an unprecedented great upheaval, and the world would have experienced a great upheaval. As a result, the newly unified dynasty would have moved towards division. The country's strength is weak, wars are rampant, and foreign enemies can even overthrow this newly established dynasty once again. Why Zhu Di was able to defeat Emperor Jingnan? It was because Emperor Jingnan made everyone feel hopeless. The Confucian system was not believed by scholars, but the emperor actually took it seriously. Are you saying it's ridiculous or not? Chen Tong's series of messages were sent out. Suddenly, the group of Lei-yin exploded. De Qin Zhen Long. Can Confucian scholars govern a country? It's ridiculous. Only legalism can govern a country. Confucius' theory of governing the country by the way of kings could not be sold in the state of Lu and had long been phased out by the times. I can't believe there's such a brainless future king. He is unbeaten, it's simply unreasonable. Feng Xiaoru, surprisingly, is going against the trend and reversing history. As Chen Tong said, such people should be completely eradicated to avoid causing harm to their descendants. Although far away, one must be executed. Shocked, surprisingly, there are emperors who believe that Confucianism can govern the country. They say, shouldn't emperors learn the way of emperors? This Emperor Jingnan, cerebral palsy, identification completed. At this moment, Zhu Di roared in front of all the civil and military officials, that's great. Feng Xiaoru should have executed his 10 clans. End of this chapter.